What's up, guys? So last webinar, if some of you joined, some of you didn't join, we went over how to trade a small account. But for this one, just gonna be looking over the charts, reviewing questions. Everyone can see my screen, correct? Okay, cool. So the first question was, what's the rule of thumb for taking 0-day expiration contracts or the next day? So rule of thumb is, say if we're looking at this chart here, the rule of thumb is what's the strategy that we're using and what are we trying to trade. So if we're trying to trade for a scalp to the upside, then try to capitalize. My rule of thumb is using, if I'm trying to capitalize off of 1 to 3 candles, I'll use 0-day expirations. Now if I'm doing anything else but scalping or trying to capitalize off that 1 or 2 or 3 candles, then I'm going to use weekly contracts, next day contracts, or somewhere to buy me time, right? Because if I'm trading a 1 hour or 4-hour zone, I want to buy time because the move might take some time to work out. Right now, price action is in a demand zone. It's not like great demand zone. It's more of a, if you guys see on the 4-hour, but let's go to a 30-minute time frame here. It's really a smaller time frame demand. So it's not that important. I'm not expecting a huge move off like today. We've seen an entry of the zone and then nice bounce up, right? Then we've seen another where we came into the bottom of the zone, started to push up, had a nice move out. Now we're falling back in. So obviously there is some buyers down in this level, but not that many, right? It's not super crazy. Now we're still seeing we're still holding this zone. And definitely could potentially bounce here and make a nice move up, but that's yet to be determined. So I would say uh picking your expiration on the contract just depends on your strategy. If you want to scalp, then I would pick 0-day expiration. But if not, um, I would pick next days or weeklies. Now, with that being said, you can still scalp using next days, but you know, it might be good for you. It depends on what your skill level is at, because say if you're someone that likes to scalp but you're not that good at managing risk yet, I would honestly go with the next day expiration, only because they'll be a little less volatile, and potentially you'll lose less even though the contracts are a little more money. So it varies. Definitely depends on skill level as well. When it comes to forming supply and demand zones, some people have questions on that, so I'll just move over and we'll look at the hourly time frame. It's basically where I get all my zones from. So as far as, let's see, let's pick up, give me a random stock, give me something that I can chart out for you guys. IWM, that works. So okay, there's a few things that stand out. One is here we have this high, nice move down. So wait, hold up, let me see. I'm going to chart where this move happened. Boom, come over here. Okay, that's the start of the move. Downside, we can come here as well. Fairly big zones. I would probably stick with this one up here. As far as there, no. Have to go to the recent demand area, which would be down here. So with this move up, body high around there, boom. So fairly big zone, right? We can manage to make that smaller. Now the way we would manage to making that smaller is not going from wick low to body high. I mean, it really depends on you. I've learned supply and demand from a lot of different people, and everyone does it differently. There's no right or wrong. As long as you plot out the right area, essentially, um, there's really no right or wrong. So So we're getting really close to that. I mean, we've already bounced it once today, but it looks like we want to enter more into there. But until then, now this one's kind of weird because the chart is very sideways. If we go out, look back, I mean, we could see when it was up here trading around this 180, we definitely had a decent demand zone up here. I mean, supply zone up here, right? Definitely good supply up there, right? We touched once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. So definitely good supply zone up there. Not really important to us right now. And yeah, I mean, there's not much to chart on this chart, to be honest with you, because there's only where it's at. You're only going to be looking at a really actually very good demand zone down here at this 160 level. So besides that, if we go out, always look at the bigger time frames, look at the daily. Yeah, so I mean, this would be the next demand. If we were to break this demand, I mean, we would be coming down to the lows of 160-ish. That's where I would be looking for this 65, 164 area. But as far as this goes, this would be the only demand here. Yeah, I don't trade IWM, but at all. I don't really look at it either, but we're touching this demand zone again. I mean, honestly, looks like the lows are gonna be taken, and then probably see. If I were trading this, I would come out, look at this 15-minute. Okay, hopefully, I would like to see a break of the lows, and then let's see. Can we find any other support and resistance through here? Yeah, it looks like there's like a support right here, right? So we can see price action got pushed up, came down, made a large move off of this support level. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down to the support, boom. So we obviously have a clear support there, and we touch it here once again. So now going into a 5-minute chart, what my entry and what I would be looking for is potentially a bounce off of this 168.33. Now, I wouldn't just take it. I would wait for price action to confirm. Now, what that means is if we go look at this one of the trades from the day, we see this 5-minute candle. Once we enter this demand zone, 5-minute candle, what is this? What is this candle here? It's showing us is a reversal candle, right? So this candle was started red, and then buyers pushed this candle up, leaving a big wick to the downside and showing us this is a nice reversal candle to potentially go long and capture this move. What was it if you went long here? Well, 405, almost a dollar move. Now, if you're scalping, that's great, really good. So again, I always look for some type of reversal. And here, if you were to take this trade here in this zone, we see this consolidation. But what am I looking for? I'm looking for a break of structure. So we see that there's some structure here. It's like a box, right? If we form a box around this area, right? This candle breaks this one, and then it holds above. We take long, we go long, and we can capture off that move. Now, it's not my ideal setup there. Neither of these are really ideal, but in my eyes, I took the wrong one off. In my eyes, this one would be more ideal only because we see this reversal candle. And what can happen here is you see this reversal candle, you go long, your stop loss can be right below this low. And if we fail that low, then you're out. I like to place my stop losses off of price action, because that way I'm ensuring that I'm trading the price action rather than I'm trading off of emotions, right? So if I just exit because I lost too much money, then I just position size poorly, rather than if I exit because it breaks my strategy, it breaks my technical rules, then at least I know my analysis wasn't right, rather than me just exiting off of emotions or whatever the case may be. It wouldn't be a bad idea, right? We took the lows out. Yes, we have demand down here. Let me get this demand zone back up. But we've already touched it a few times and it looks to be exhausted, right? Looks to me that we come here. I had it drawn up here, but it doesn't really matter. Yeah, I mean, if we have a candle break out and close below, you could look for a retest entry down, to the downside if we test it. But in this case, if we don't end up bouncing, it's just not a really good level, to be honest with you guys. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you. I mean, it's not that great of a level in the first place, right? It's a lower time frame demand zone, so you can only expect so much from it. Now, if we're gonna find a zone like this, let's go to the 4 hour. Like, if we went up to this zone right here, like 420 area, that would be a higher time frame zone where I'm very interested, or something like this. I mean, obviously this 350, the lows would be nice, but down here at this 379, 380 looks nice for a demand, but really these zones up here, like, you can see the move that these type tend to generate. Like, there was a zone up here, this 415. We came up and touched this 415, and what happened? We made from that 450, from this level up here. I mean, this went from a high of 414 to a low of 375. So in just a matter of, you know, about a week or two. So it's insane. So sometimes you can capture huge moves off higher time frame supply and demand, but in the recent the zones have been fairly small because of just the price action we've been given. So we had this large trend up. Now we're seeing a decent trend down. So we'll see what happens. I mean, right now we are starting to bounce. Like, if you wanted to try it, what you would do is say here, like, if you wanted to try this, let me load up my contracts really quick. Right. So say if I wanted to scalp this and thought it was going to work, I'm just taking it for example. So I'd buy here. This is where I'd buy. Now my stop loss would be the low of that candle. And the reason why I would buy here is, let me put it on the 5-minute. It's because there's a few things, right? So first thing is, the way it's structured is that we have this formulated low. So I already know my risk is going to be small comparable to my reward, right? Now, what I would look for is, we have this reversal candle on the 5-minute. Now, I can't expect this to be a huge push. And then what's the reason being is, it could be, right? But the reason being for me not expecting this shouldn't be a huge push is because we are trending down, right? The bigger moves are to the downside. Right now, my contracts are up almost 10 cents already, right? They're almost up 10 cents. If we can get a continued push, that would be ideal. Again, when you're trying to go against the trend, especially in a zone where it's been touched multiple times today, you're going to expect a smaller move. So, if you're going to go counter trend, you got to be careful, especially when you're trading this. So what I would do is, of course, I said I would put my stop loss at the low, but I would say if I was trading 10 contracts, damn, look at that push. That's crazy. These contracts are up plus 15 cents, 12 cents. I mean, like that's the beauty of using price action, right? I just purely seen, okay, we are in this zone where the buyers should be at. But we see this reversal candle happen once, twice, two reversal candles. All right, let's go. Let's give it a try, because relative to me, my risk will be lower than my reward. Yes, that's what I meant to say. These contracts are actually up 15 cents. 0.78. Now, like, this is the move that I would look for right there. All right, here we go. This is whatever. I bought one contract. There you go. I made $20. Oh, I didn't even shit. I accidentally bought by accident. There we go. Good thing I'm using one contract, but either way, it's going in our favor. Look at that pump, guys. See, it's not rocket science. It's more about formulating a plan and also having something structured. So when I'm looking for stuff in trading, it's more of price action. It's more about what confluence do I have? What areas do I have in order for my rules to make sense when I'm trading. So in this case, we've seen this downtrend. Obviously, we had support in this area because look, we had we touched it here once, shot up, touched it here twice. What happened? We had a little push down. What is this called? What is this called when we have a push below the lows, but it wicks down? What is this called? This is called liquidity, a liquidity clear out, liquidity sweep, whatever. Those contracts just went from 0.78 to 1.05 in about 10 seconds as we were talking. So I don't know if anyone caught that trade or anyone wanted to take that with me, but it was just purely for example rather than me making money. Because I already made money today. I'm not trying to trade. It's not really that important to me. But I love doing it this way because it shows you real life example, right? I'm not just like, I'm not rewinding the candles. I just showed you a real life example of how I would trade it, and that's exactly what I would do. So there was a few things there that really gave me confluence. One being, okay, this was a support from earlier in the day. Two, this candle here came down and cleared this low. And what this does is everyone's trying to go long here. Everyone's trying to go long. Retail's trying to go long because we're on support, but they have their stop loss below the low. So when they enter here, this candle comes down, stops them out, creates liquidity. Now that's time for smart money to go long, and that's why we see a nice move there, right? So there's a lot of example in this, and honestly, I'm happy that all happens because it gives you a great look on what you should look for. There's multiple confluences here. One, we have a demand zone. Two, we have a support from earlier in the day. Three, we see price action confirmed with two hammer candles, but this one comes down and clears out all the people that are long, right? All the retail that's long. So with that being said, with the retail being long up here, they got stopped out, creates liquidity clear out, lets orders get filled. That's where smart money goes long, and then they capture off this move up. So that's really ideal. But what I was trying to get to before is that we see this price action here on a key level, and why not take it, right? Because our stop loss off of technicals will be fairly close, right? Our stop loss off technicals will be fairly close. So, I mean, we entered here up this 404.1, and our stop loss is at this 403.7 essentially. So a 40-cent stop loss for a relatively, right now we're at 404.8 off of this. So right now we're up 70 cents, right? So I mean, these contracts went from 0.78, I believe. I'm out of it now. 0.78 to we're at 1.03 right now. 1.04. I mean, look, I couldn't have called the bottom any better. And that's not because I know anything more than you guys do. It's just analyzing the price action is really it. I go more in depth with this in the mastermind. But this is a great example. This is a great example, and I'm not sure if you guys are in the wait list for the mastermind or whatever, but the applications are out. So if you didn't catch the wait list, definitely go see the applications. If you were interested, here's the link right here. But yeah, I mean, that's perfect example. That I'm curious, did anyone catch any calls there? Take any trades? Contracts are up from 0.78 to 1.10 right now. Wild. 1.15. Still in? You guys are in? Let's go. Why would you be Sam? Why would you be trigger shy when I gave you a perfect entry and stop loss? There's no like any more clear definite like when I started trading, I always thought the same thing. Like I'm gonna wait for the perfect opportunity. But when the opportunity happens, you're like, you don't really know. It doesn't matter what setup you have. It doesn't matter what you're using. At the end of the day, every trader has their edge, but they can't be right 100% of the time. There's no one that's right. And that's why you have to put the probabilities in your favor. How many more probabilities can we put in our favor here? We had a support from earlier today. We have a demand that happened on the 30-minute. We have 2 candles that are showing us reversals. Now we put our stop loss under that 403.7. Play calls. Boom. Look at that. We already had from the entry. The contracts are at 1.17 right now from a 0.78 entry. Let's try 1.20 now. So, I mean, this trade could go 100% or could stop right here. But if I was trading this for real, what I would have done was, okay, I would have taken my full position down there around, if I'm using the small account, probably 20 contracts, and then say, let's go 20 contracts, and I would have trimmed off that first candle at least half. Wow, 1 point. Guys, is anyone in this trade? I mean, like, is anyone in this? Like, it's insane. 50%. Let's go. Wow. Still holding. Definitely trim a little bit here. Definitely trim a little bit only because we have VWAP, right? Well, I definitely think the momentum here is really strong. I definitely think we'll get over this VWAP, but I would definitely say trim some only just to secure some gains, right? Never hold and just hope that it keeps going higher, right? Always take, since we call it a perfect entry, I would definitely take some off. Only have one screen, you have your phone, you have minimize. You could have ripped that. To be honest, I don't know. I've never even read Savage's volume rule, to be honest with you. And nothing against him, nothing against the volume rule. I don't use it. It's not that important to me. I have my strategy and that's it. You know what I mean? So if you could pick something up from me and put it to yours, that's what I'm here for. You know what I mean? Like it's not yeah, that's it. I don't use anyone else's strategy besides mine. Yeah, mainly take entries off 5-minute, because what happens is here is that if you're gonna go watch the 1-minute time frame, where could have you taken entries? Oh, well, you could have taken an entry. Let's see. Here. You could have taken an entry here. Here. Like it's not doing us good. That's not doing us good. So the 5-minute time frame is what you want. That's where you see the real reversal patterns and trades, in my experience. See, guys, that's why you trim up here, because we're seeing some resistance up near this VWAP. And what's one thing we also notice, right? What's one thing we noticed, guys? I don't know if you guys can spot it, but I can. There's this trend line, right? We had this high. Oh, wow. Would you look at that? We have a trend line, right? We came back up, touched the trend line, reverse, came back up, touched the trend line, reversed, right? So let's be real here, right? So if this doesn't reject and this claims this trend line and breaks above, we definitely could see higher, and I think we can get break over this 406 even. But if we do reject, we can see a continuation down. I mean, there's so much when you get into trades, other things form out. And this one, if we could really break above this, I mean, this could be 100% trade if this ends up, if this 5 minute can close over this trend line. I mean, it could be a great trade. I mean, overall, it's over a 50% trade. Contracts are at 1.25 right now from an entry of 0.78. So, yeah, I mean, you guys have any questions or anything like that? I mean, I'm here. I want you guys to ask me questions. Love to. I mean, I kind of just explained this. Would you recommend getting in a pullback? It's a good question. So, honestly, not really. Depends. Not from where we're sitting at now. I wouldn't. That's not really what I would enter at. That was my ideal entry right there. Like right where I entered in the first place would be ideal. And I was taking it with you guys, but also I was just trying to show you the example because having that low set in and having that liquidity be swept, it just gives me confidence to take the trade no matter what. But I don't like I'm already done trading for the day, so it's not really that important to me to make any more money. Well, wow, I should have probably used more size. I just want to show you the example. Could you go over liquidity sweep again? Yes. So we had this low here, right? This low of 404. Let me redo this. Let's clear this for you guys here. So we had this low of previous low right there, right? So let me get rid of this. Let me get this, edit, price level. See, we're struggling with that trend line. If we can break that, though, it would be really nice. Okay, let's get the price on the right. Okay. So, okay, we can see that the low was 403.87. Okay. Now we see price action coming down in this area of support. And if you're looking on the 1 minute, what do we see here on the 1 minute, right? A lot of people are probably focused here. They're looking at like, okay, let me enter calls here. Let me enter calls. Well, here we go. We're starting to break out of this trend line. Telling y'all, this could be 100% trade. Contracts are at 1.37 from 0.78. And this candle ends up, instead of pushing up here, ends up pushing down, going past the lows and pushing below the lows. Now, of course, it closes up higher, but what this push down does is all the stop losses, all the people that bought calls back here and put their stop loss at the low, all got stopped out, right? Everyone got stopped out here, creating liquidity. So everyone that was going long got stopped out. For people to go, for people to get their orders filled, or smart money to get their orders filled to capture off this move. Make sense? So everyone that was going long previously had their stop losses set on the low. Now we came back down, broke through the low, creating that liquidity where everyone's orders got stopped out. Now people's orders have the ability to get filled. That was a harsh reject there. Wow, look at that. Look at that on that trend line. It looked like for a second, right, we were gonna break out there, but again, these are the type of traps they traders and well, we see all the time when trading. They want people to go long on this breakout, and what happens is they push up, candle doesn't close, and boom, it's an instant fake out to the downside. So that's why I say, okay, we're not. Well, someone asked, would I enter on a pullback? Like, why would I enter on a pullback over here when yes, we could potentially go all the way up? Who knows? But I got to use my probabilities to my advantage, my skill set to my advantage. I know that we are near a certain trend line that we've rejected off once, twice, well, actually 2, 3, 4 times, and it could be 5 times. So you can't there's a lot of things in the market that you'll never be able to control. And that's why you have to do everything in your power to um set yourself up for a winning scenario. You know what I mean? So that's what I do on a daily basis. It doesn't work sometimes, and that's why you have to have a good stop loss and a good plan. So this way with this low, had a good stop loss, and yeah, I mean, boom. I always like to go off price action because then it means my analysis was wrong rather than anything else. How many times have you guys entered a trade and maybe bought too many contracts and you exited the trade because you got emotional or it just didn't feel right? You took too many contracts and then it works out in your favor. That happens all the time. So that's why there's a few things that you have to put in your mind, especially as a newer trader or a small account trader, is that trade with a position size you're comfortable with trading with, and trade the technicals, not your emotions, right? Trade what you know how to, right? You guys all know how to plot a supply or demand zone and find support and resistance. You think Grizzly, Jadon, and everyone else that's really good at trading does anything else different? No, everyone does the same thing. It's all about putting, creating an edge for yourself. Yeah, so I mean, if you wanted to play calls here, which I would never do in my strategy, I would never do this. But if you're a person that likes breakouts, you would wait for this candle to close above the trend line rather than obviously closing below. But I don't see how that people do it, and this could honestly reverse and go to the moon. Who knows? It's just not in my edge. Now, I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying it's just not doesn't fit my style of trading. So just something that I personally wouldn't do much. I do trade breakouts here and there, but it's very rare. That was awesome though. It was a really good. I'm happy that happened. I'm happy we caught that explanation because that helps. It really helps to see it in real time. Like if I had someone explaining this to me in real time before, I would be much better off in my trading career, not losing a lot of money. Um, yeah. So what's up, Marky Mark? You missed it. Did you miss it, or have you been here? Any other questions? Like this definitely could bounce back up and break this trend line and continue higher, but honestly, I would like to see more upside, especially on this trade. If someone's still holding this trade that we took earlier, that's the beauty of getting a really good entry, right? Because the way our entry was, our stop loss was so small that we're still 30 we're still literally 30 cents plus in profit still on these contracts. Like you're not stressed at all because of that little rejection. You have a really good entry and you have the willingness to ride it out and potentially see this break and move above. Yeah, this is recorded. Yeah. We caught the bottom here, Mark. We entered calls down this 404.10. I mean, I didn't really put much size into it. Obviously, I was just showing it for example, but some people caught it. Yeah, VWAP would definitely be a heavy trim in the way I trade. And the only reason is just because a lot of people watch it. A lot of traders look at it. But either way, I would still be holding a decent amount of contracts here. Maybe put stop losses in at break even or a little bit in profit and see where this one can go. Right? Let's see where this one can go. Let's see how we can maximize our winners. Right? Let's see how we can maximize these winners. Yeah, I do redraw my supply and demand here and there. Depends on, like, if this holds today and we continue higher, I'll keep it there because obviously there is buyers down at this level. We've seen buyers push it up once, twice, 3 times. So if we don't end up breaking this level, then yes, I'll leave this one there. But if we do break down, then yes, I'll probably get rid of it and look for new zones. And I'm working on some new presentations that, with PowerPoint for the mastermind and doing other things. I'm trying to go in depth with the liquidity sweeps. I think that's a big thing in my trading I don't talk about as much. So seeing this just adds to my conviction, right? It just adds to the strategy. So part of my edge is liquidity sweeps and clear outs, and definitely something that would need to be touched on more. Yeah, that's good. Mark, that's definitely what you need to do. In my mind, I see my supply and demand zones in the pre-market. I'm like, okay, here are my scenarios. Uh, one, we can see a bounce off this demand zone, here, or we can see a rejection off this supply zone. And depending on where price action structured, I'll be feeling more confident than the other. Like I'll be formulating plans in my mind before even price action forms out. Right. And you have to anticipate, right? Trading is all about probabilities. Like I said before, there is no golden strategy. It's like not real. What is real is having a simple plan. And if you're able to execute it, then, you can set yourself up with potentially having small losers and bigger winners. So that's really the goal. Keeping me more calm. Yeah, definitely more calm, right? This trade here, uh, if we could see a break of this, man, what I would honestly like to see is to this 406, and a break of this 406.5 is key. If we could get that, that would be huge. Now, also when I watch SPY, or from trading SPY or QQQ, which is basically like all day, I'll watch individuals. Like I'll watch Apple, I'll watch Amazon, Tesla, Google, and a few other tech stocks that play a big part in the movement of QQQ and SPY. So watching them also can give you some extra conviction as well. Like if you go back to this trade where we entered at this 404.06, this was at 1210. Okay, go to 1210 on Apple. Go to 1210 on Apple. Actually, I'll do it for you guys. Let's go to 1210 on Apple. What happened on 1210? What happened? Oh, a little bounce off VWAP, right? Boom. Bounce off VWAP while we're also bouncing off a SPY demand zone. So there's so many ways to make your trade. Like that's the most conviction I can have, right? I have individuals lining up for a bounce. I have a liquidity sweep to the downside. I have previous support on SPY there. I mean, there's so many different things telling me to take this trade, and that's all I can do. And also one other thing that I want to specify is I already factored in my risk right when I traded it, right? My risk was that candle low. Sam, yeah, but like don't like count on, don't just don't look at the direction of where we're trending and just say, oh, it's 12. Let me go play calls, or let me go play puts because we're trending up or trending down. Like that doesn't really work. It does tend to flip around lunchtime, but it's just like it doesn't happen all the time. Definitely don't use that as as a strategy. Well, there you go. There's a live trade for you guys. Contracts moved over 50%. Looks like we're flagging a little bit up here near this trend line. But that's the beauty of getting a perfect entry, is because this price action up here doesn't really matter, because what we did was we trimmed where we had to. Then what we're gonna do is slide instead of our stop loss being at 403.7, we're gonna put it at break even or somewhere around there. Yeah, I mean, if you guys watched that video on that I made on my Instagram, or the not the video, the story that I showed with the box, it was more about the consolidation and looking for a break of structure. Like for instance, if you go on the 1 minute here, you can see there's consolidation down here, right? As say if we're gonna draw a box, say this is the consolidation, this is the box. What happens when well, that's the box there. What happens when the price action gets and breaks that box? Well, we see that large move to the upside, right? So, I mean, you could use that, but typically I like using that on the 5 minute. Like all my entries come from the 5 minute. So I do swing sometimes. It depends. Nope. I don't know any daily or weekly gaps. I could really care less if there's a gap, to be honest. Do you ever use any other patterns? No, not really. Patterns are okay, but I want to see where there's buyers and sellers are at. I could care less about the pattern. Where is he getting his questions from? What do you mean? I don't like trading patterns, to be real with you. It's just not my thing. Well, I just explained liquidity sweeps here, but as far as learning more, I mean, I mean, obviously YouTube, but I go in depth in the mastermind about them as well. And I'm right now I'm forming a good PowerPoint presentation about them. So hopefully that will be good for this next. It's the last mastermind of the year. If you guys are on the wait list, or if not, there is a application link, but that's up to you guys. Like I said, there's plenty of I'll be doing these for as long as I'm in Team Bull here for you guys. And um as always, I'm always here to help. I know a lot of people get pressed that I'm not on like live voice trading a lot, and that's because there's a lot of people that trade in our chat, like Grizzly, Brandon, Jadon, Nate, and I'm not going to be one talking over them and telling, and maybe I'm looking for calls or looking for puts. I don't know. I don't really like it. So I would rather just lay low and do my thing. Um I was in the first mastermind. It was awesome. That's great, bro. Yeah, if anyone is interested or wants to apply, um there is an application link. It's right here if you didn't get on the wait list. But no, Team Bull's my home, I've been here for over 2 years, so um never plan on leaving, to be honest. But yeah, so hopefully we should get another one in soon. We'll get another webinar in probably next week. I did 2 this week. We'll get another one in next week. I'll try to make these a weekly thing from here on out. I think this one was probably very helpful for a lot of you guys, because seeing the trade actually work out like in real time is I think probably the best education you can get, only because you're showing it real time. Anyone can go on a chart and look back and say, "Oh, I should have done that." I mean, we all can be experts if that's what we're gonna do every time. So yeah, next week Jadon won't be on voice, so I'll probably be on a lot more. But yeah, I think this was really good. I'm happy that we ran it at 12, because that was perfect time and perfect entry for that trade. Hopefully, if you guys are still in it, in this trade, I think, I mean, still, you're still, if you put the rest of your trade at break even or a little bit in profit, just let it ride. See if we can break this. See if we can break this here and potentially get higher. Yeah. So again, have a great day, guys. I'll be here. So just if you want to at me and ask me questions, go ahead. But here's the link one more time if you're interested in applying. But if not, again, I'll see you guys next week for a webinar here. So thank you, guys. I appreciate y'all. Peace.